Hello there, Crackbook Crackers. I'll just give you a chance to pop on if you're coming on live with me. Grab your coffees. I'm just closing the window. If you want to know why I have a bit of a scrambled message up the top on what this live is about tonight, yesterday when I came live, I did it and it did the same, and I had to keep coming on, and then I decided not to put a message on, and tonight it's done it again, and I decided to leave it on to show you that I tried to type. It's the final countdown. So anyway, I have another copyright thing to do, so if my live gets shut down, I do apologize, but I need to get the copyrights of this to find out who I need to email to get the rights of. 2 seconds, it's an advert. So just going to run again as I do. As soon as this ad bloody finishes. Artists to watch. Yes, we know an artist to watch, don't we? So anyway, I just need to do, it'll probably pull me up in the next 2 seconds and try and pull my live down. So as we know. But guys, as from tomorrow, it's the final countdown, 12 days to go. It's the re-election of the, here in so-called Great Britain, it's the final countdown. I'll just give you a chance to come on. Hi to those. As from tomorrow, well, not tomorrow, because we're in midnight, 30th. So officially, we're now preparing for the 12 days of Christmas. Sorry, 12 crisis of Christmas. And then it's the anyway, I just need to run it in the background for a minute. I just need to pull up copyrights. I need you to listen to the words, actually. I'll stay there a minute. So basically, this is the song on the videos for all the work that I've got to do. And this is the only problem that we have. Is there a copyright issue with this being on the video that I'm going to be releasing for the 1974 snooker with Alex Higgins? This was the opening song, so I need to get an email that I have been pulled up for copyrights, so I can ask you and send you over the video and say you're all right with it, and do you want to go with me and work with Step Up Britain? Yes, come on, there's a lot coming out with all of this. I have here every note Graham has put under my door every morning with all of the names of all of the people. I can't show you all because I'm not at liberty to. I am under copyrights. But Dave Kidd of the Sun, you will be getting involved. Phil Collins of the Daily Mail, you will be getting involved. Roger Leatham, Director of Affairs, the BBC Studio Productions, you will be getting involved. Names and shames maybe. Simon Boyle, Showbiz at the Sun, you're getting involved. Barry Hemming, World Snooker Matchroom. Dan Woodston, Sun Chief Executive. Matt Wilson, Steve Davis, you're all right, but you're still getting involved. Witness to it all. Sorry? How do you spell? Terrorists. Oh, terrorists. I'd have to write it down. Terrorists. I'd have to write it down. I've no pen. I don't know. I have to Google it. Hang on, I'm doing this. Sorry, I have to find it. Ben Fenton, media consultant. John Shattit, media consultant. Hannah Chambers, chamber management. Tim Dunkley, world snooker coach. George Pascoe Watson, PR consultant. That's for something else. If you're wondering why I'm covered in blood, by the way, one of my sons has been to A&E today for cutting his head. Anyway, that's done. So basically now I get an email from Crackbook to say that I'm in breach of copyrights and I just need the email. So as soon as I've got that and I know if there's any copyright issues, I can sell it and I get 10%. So and already been offered 50 grand for it just to not release it. So I think it went up to 150, and this isn't blackmail. You can legally release these videos. I have access. In fact, if you go onto the Great Stage, put in Southsea Slug City, all of the videos are already up. And as you can see, there's professional snooker ones up there, but there's also the ones from when they go from meeting up at the hotel, going out on their nights, in their rooms, and things that basically coke addicts and alcoholics get up to behind closed doors. And obviously this all links to the BBC because that's who sponsored the snooker. And obviously then this links to Jimmy Savile, into Epstein, into Prince Andrew, into Oops Upside the Head learnt from his father, back to Princess Diana, who was going public with a lot of stuff that was going on with the Princess Trust. I still don't have the proper validity of the case in Canada. I have seen court evidence that says that this court case, and obviously there is information on blogs that you can get, but the problem with blogs online is anybody can write anything. I could make a newspaper article for you right now, and even people can copy the Sun, the Daily, and people put out potential of what they want the media to say. And a lot of people report from one-sided point of views, biased point of views, from trauma they project, and you have to be very, very careful on who says what when we're dealing with, at the end of the day, you're all watching the people who are doing it, and nobody is asking where are the children it's happening to. And this is why I get so mad. Perfect timing, thank you Lord. Yeah, come on, you know, who is here protecting the children? Because they're not. That's actually an ambulance, but they're not. Yeah, the police here are not protecting the children that are being used in child pornography. In paedophilia means the love of a child, so you have to be really careful because people don't understand all the, there's necrophiliacs, there's oh fucking hell, the list goes on. There's a difference between somebody who gets a wooden spoon and sodomizes a child to somebody who takes videos of child. They've got all of these different labels, just as they have for mental health. As in, this is fucking mental health, it's fucking mental. And this is the problem. We got 12 days now to literally, as from today, today is coming into the weekend. I'm assuming it's Saturday morning now in here in the UK, as we're past midday. For the last 2 days, me and Dean have been saying to each other, what day is it today? I'm sure it was Wednesday yesterday. He's going, no, it's Friday. I'm going, I'm sure it's Thursday today, because I'm sure it's Wednesday today. So we just had a couple of days of boys bouncing around on beds, and obviously one of them ended up with a bloody oops upside the head, and we were at A&E. And I was right, guys. This isn't a fear of mine. This is how much the multi-agency safeguarding wraps up the system. I don't know if I've got it to hand because I can't remember where I put it. But even before they even asked me what was wrong with my son at A&E, I was given a safeguarding letter to ask me. First of all, she said to me, do you have legal PR of the child? I said, yes. And she said, so are you the mother of the child? I said, yeah, this is while I've got a child in my arms who's got, and now I've stopped the bleeding, but he's got a cut to the back of his head and enough where he'd probably need glue. As an EDS mother, I usually have all of this sort of stuff here. I have a big first aid box. I usually have all of this stuff because I am so used to children with EDS that just very, very easily, you know, I can cut, and you have to glue it together because otherwise it has a wide scar. If you have in any EDS book, it says wide scarring. So as a mother, I've always said, well, how do I stop wide scarring? And I've always had this glue myself. But then they hand me this form to fill out, and it says, is there any court proceedings between you and obviously father, social services, and then straight into childcare stuff? And it's like, hang on a minute, you haven't even asked me what my son's injury is right here in A and E. This is an accident and emergency. So then I had to sit down and wait for a triage, who then had to go through that form with me. So then I've had to say, look, excuse me, but I have high anxiety already. My son's just had a bleed. He's got a trauma to the head. Last time I had to come to A&E with my children, I haven't seen two of them.
Bleed today?
No, when Shiloh went to A&E today.
You cut the back of his head. You got a bleed on his head.
No, I said about being at A&E when they're not asking you what the injury is. So basically, you've got to go through that form first, and then at the end of it, they want to go through another form with you. So straight away, you're already in this thing. So I filled out that there was none, because there isn't. There's no social services involved with my children. But because I come up on their system, then they come out and say, well, actually, you filled out on this form that actually there is no, but our system says this. So then it's like, look, I'm here for my son, yes? Can we deal with my son? So I've got a lovely woman who's going boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it's fantastic. Just, you know, it's just, and I said, look, was I right to come? I've got a lot of anxiety. I didn't need to bring him. I could have gone down to the pharmacy, got some glue and done it myself, but I was worried about, I didn't have the proper cleaning stuff. I'd already gone across to the doctors. The doctors weren't allowed to see him because the law states that if it's a head injury with a child, and I'm going, but look, I just need some actual proper steri wipes and maybe a steri strip or a bit of glue. That's it. It's that easy. As a mother with EDS and children, I'm allowed to administer a certain level of care to my children that's not seen as neglect. It's completely and utterly normal. So then I'll come back in, because after triage, you then have to come back in, and then they see somebody who then does like the doodah. So she said, yep, glue, did the glue, not problem. It's only tiny, just like literally a dollop, just push it together and that's it. You just got to keep the heads clean for five days. So then all of a sudden this other woman comes, sits right next to me, and she said, anyway, what happened to your other children? I said, excuse me, I don't wish to discuss that with you right here, right now. And it's none of your business. And I was like, excuse me? Like, so I then read the form with the kids. So then they actually asked me again to then go through this other form with me on how much I would represent their services and blah, 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 blah. I said, look, excuse me, but I don't wish to talk about that. I'm very emotional, it's very trauma. This is very difficult for me to be on high anxiety as it is. You know, was I right to bring him? She said, yes, of course, you know, for every, you know, head injury, blah, 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 blah. And I said, but why couldn't have I just been given those things to do it over at the doctors? And they agreed with me. The problem with this country is we are health and safety ridden. We are safeguarding ridden. Look, at the end of the day, if the Queen's here to protect the crown, she's here to protect her status and her position over the dominance of the people. That's what this is all about, yeah? So from a point of view straight away, her first immediate protection is to protect the country that she wants to dominate. That isn't to protect the people that live in it, that's to protect people coming in to take her position as the Queen. So we're all pawns in this so-called game of chess, yeah? So we've got 12 days now to literally, as the people, go, right, so Brexit's pretty much like on hold. There is no MP, we have no parliament, we have no structure, there is no governance, and there is no parliament right here, right now in the UK. We have none of it. They're out campaigning. Here we go. Look, you have mothers. Yeah, mothers out campaigning. This person is deemed to be the new prime minister through the Liberal Democrats. Yeah, she's booked to be the new head of the prime minister. She's the one that they're saying is going to come through and smack out and be the prime minister of this country. This is who they're all actually backing. Or she just has a very good marketing promoter. But she is going for, and actually, if you go into her history, she is the one who has pulled all of the laws on things like gender, freaking pay stuff. She was in Glasgow. She's only just come to Portsmouth. She's been positioned here in Portsmouth. That's what I find funny. She's a Glaswegian. This girl is from Glasgow. She knows full well what is going on. So she's come to Portsmouth. Funny that. I'm going to go and meet her at a mums and babies club and go and maybe plant some seeds. So anyway, on my live yesterday, I showed you my filing cabinet, things I was going through, what I was dealing with. So here, we're getting there. I started all of this to prove to you the gap in this whole changeover, and I said that we were going to push for positions. And in these 12 days, we have an opportunity to champion people. Now, to be an MP, if you are an ex-serving soldier, you can't be an MP. If you are a police officer, you can't be an MP. I believe if you're a teacher and any of them things, you can't be an MP. So we, the people, have now got to pull down the fact that I'm reminding people that it's a membership. They're basically joining a gym. They're paying £500. So all these people that are championing to be your MP are now paying £500 to Parliament and going out there and paying for their own. So they're paying for this. She's paying for this all herself. If she wins, she will get a salary of 60,000, and then she will work for her constituency here in Portsmouth as an MP. So basically, all around the UK now, subsect it into, now don't forget there's going to be an amalgamation of councils like now, yeah? So in London, so like Hackney, all of them places are all being amalgamated into a new council. I think it's happening everywhere. So basically, all of the little villages are all being pulled into sort of like the what are they called, like countries being pulled out. So people who live in the country are all being pulled out into the cities. Cities are then being subdivided into one bigger dominance of councils. Now, in some ways it's good because somebody with a medical condition can't go out of council. We thought, even me personally, I won to be able to go to Leeds when I lived in Aldershot and in Northern Ireland. And eventually, it took me 4 years, but I was eventually allowed to go and see Professor Burdin. They allowed for the funding because for years they fought me saying that I was I had entitlement issues and I was grandeur and it was narcissist because I was asking for specialist care. Well, EDS is specialist care. It's a specialist condition. So whether or not it's going to be a spiritual connection, I don't know. Previous trauma, who knows? I'm not an expert in this. I just know that I live with the challenges that I do, and they're real and they're not in my head, and they're not the easiest conditions to claim to have. And I see the same things in my children, and my mother. So is it a genetic curse? I don't know. I would love for it to be a genetic curse because then that means I will one day be free of it. If I have to live with it for the rest of my days, then it's going to take my life at the end of the day. That's fact. Can't deny it. You have to face it. If you don't accept death, then you always live in fear. So death is probably one of the most greatest things that will ever happen to us because there's only two paths. Here there's many paths for us to go down. They used to say options make you stronger. It doesn't. It makes you fucking weaker. when we die, there's two options. You're going somewhere that you're going to be screaming in your own mind for a long time, or you'll walk, you know, home. You know, so the path that you choose to take here will decide that. And that's the great thing about all of this. This is why I laugh sometimes at night when I want to cry, because, you know, these people aren't going to get away with it. That's the funny thing about it. They'll get what, 70, 80, they're lucky, 101 and a birthday card from the Queen. And that affects their entire eternity. And so it's like the girl who bullied me at school, you know, fuck's sake, she died of a brain tumor before she was 21. Fuck's sake, you know, that's karma for you, isn't it? So I said to you last night on a live that a mother was saying bye to her baby today. For no fucking reason. For absolutely no fucking reason. Just like Aaron and Faith were taken. For no fucking reason. No grounds. No abuse. No trauma caused to my children other than what they did to them and what they put them through and continue to put them through. In a loving home. Okay, I'm not being perfect. My fucking completely crashed. I, you know, as a mother, when George Osborne came out in the media going, this is what's going to happen, and I'm sitting there as a mother going, you know, I'm 24/7 responsible for two of my children. Yes, I've got a father around for the two older boys, but, you know, it doesn't put a roof, neither of them put a roof over me and the kids' heads' house. Do you know what I mean? They had the house. You know, my ex-husband has the house that you know, we both purchased when we married. I was in private rental. And the same with Aaron and Faith's, you know, father. And how does anybody from any separation expect any father to, you know, put a roof back over his own head and provide his own life and pay maintenance to his ex and keep a roof over her head? You know, most couples need two salaries at the end of the day to be able to keep a mortgage, a car, maybe two cars, transportation to get to work, you know, their food and because don't forget, all this free education and stuff is only for the people under a certain salary. Working class don't get this help. People in mortgages don't get the council turning up to fix their boilers. They have to pay fix their toilets. You know, I don't think people in social housing realise how fucking honoured they really are, even though they take the fucking piss out of it, because to get a plumber out or a locksmith is like £90. You know, I've been mortgaged, so when we do have people coming out to fix our toilet, I'm very grateful for it because I know how much that will cost me. You know, I am aware of the costs of actual living in this UK, Britain, of this capitalistic state. You know, this monetized state. You know, I said to you, the devil's son was called Mamomne, you know. So, and that is the frequency that you look, it's like a radio station. You got Radio 1, you got Rock FM, you got Kiss FM. It's all a different genre, it's a different frequency. And life is exactly the same. You either tune in or you're out of tune. And when you're out of tune, prime example, there's that book thing I was reading from earlier on. I said to you to those that have been with me since the beginning, I said to you back in 2010, and I said was it Daybreak and all of that sort of stuff, I said to you that when they told me that I would be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life and I had to prepare for that, they forced me into psychotherapy because I refused to accept that was my destiny. I said that was their decision, and if they make that decision, that's okay for them. It's up to me to accept that decision. And they said it's not something that you can deny. It's only something that you can not learn to manage. And I understand management, but I decided, and I joined with Professor Bird and a lot of other very big people, Dr. Rossen and stuff, and I believed I believed that we reproduce our body like a snake. Snakes shed its skin, blah, 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 blah. But we as humans have a whole new body every 7 years. Fact. Absolute fact. The body that I have now is not the same body that I had 7 years ago or 8 years ago, because we shed our skin every night, every day, shed our skin every day. Our body changes. We are in constant reformation all the time. My finger is reforming all the time before your very eyes. You would need to go micro fucking probably 19 dimensions in to even be able to see, you know, the dendrites and the myelin sheaths and, you know, all of the stuff. I'd have to, for fuck's sake, I'd have to do a whole lesson on atoms and dendrites and myelin sheaths and how atoms move around and all that sort of stuff, for you to understand that. And you can Google it yourself. You can go into your chromosomes and how your chromosomes come together, how energy works, how perpetual transmutation works, and you know how that comes together. So your body is vibrating. My physical body is vibrating right here, right now. And the power of the words, the spelling, the power of the words penetrates into this ethos that we have here. And that's what I came to sort of say. And what I said in the papers was that I was challenging Britain to change from negative ways of thinking and taking action to positive. And that's all I said. I just wanted to challenge Great Britain to look in the mirror, take off the masks. If they didn't like what they see, to change it. And that was it. That's all I said. If they were stuck in jobs, relationships, things they didn't like, going to work to pay the bills, to just change it and write a new statement for themselves. Now, the problem is I was still at the beginning of my learning too. And I wrote a very powerful statement. And this is in 2010. And it was, what do I need? And this was after. So basically, I'd gone and done the whole business plan. So you have to write a 5-year plan. So whenever you go and put a business plan together and you become a director of a company. So when I say, hi, I'm Kelly Cottam, director of Step Up Britain, that basically means I've written a business model with a 5-year projection. I've done my SWOT analysis, and I've gone to companies' houses, and I have written down, and I have decided that when I make money, I'm going to pay tax to this country, and I'm the director, so therefore I am legally responsible for that company. That's all it means. So I am the director of Step Up Britain. I am the director of Unity and Community. I am the director of Kelly Cottam. I'm the director of Challenge Britain Protocol, Love Great Britain, every subsection of the UK of Love of. So Love Preston, Love Portsmouth, Love London, Love Though. I own all of those. I own all of the community inns. And then obviously within those subsections of those businesses, then obviously there is votes for positions, vote no confidence, and then all of the things that come down, Step Up Australia, Step Up UK, blah, 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 blah. I shall read it to you very quickly. So basically, where is it? So you go through this whole, the funny thing about this is I wrote a load of notes, and then all of a sudden the next thing I wrote was Walk for Justice. So it goes to show how far I got with all of this. I mean, obviously it's never come to fruition. So I'm still here. I'm lower than I probably ever could have been for a long time. So basically I had to go through the purpose of a blueprint. So play to your strengths, delegate your weaknesses, delegation, not whatever it is, manage, coach, oversee, feedback. So what are you doing when you're your best, blah, 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 blah. So had to go through all that sort of stuff, write out our stuff, blah, 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 blah. So on one of them I wrote, I'm the director of Challenge Britain. I'm the brains and inspiration of the vision. I have an outstanding, significant team, Lord Alan Sugar, Tony Robbins, the Dragons are my board member. That's as in Doodah Dragons, Wealth Dragons. I'm self-funded and supported by the Secret Millionaires of Britain. Challenge Britain is endorsed and in partnership with government. Challenge Britain is in partnership with, I've got to put questionnaires because I can't actually release the information. Challenge Britain is a trademark for every single coach and mentor throughout Britain, hence why they would call work coaches, comes from this. They haven't had their training because I'm still here. Are all self-employed licensed speakers and trainers as themselves under Challenge Britain kite mark. Challenge Britain has full control and contracts to intercede personal development programs in all systems: education, health, NHS, sports, regeneration, health and safety. So pretty much everything the government works for. And then obviously it's about the premises, includes nursery, schooling area, training room, lecture theatre, boardroom, design room, recording studio, printing studio, media room, publishing house, kitchen, dining room, restaurant, health facilities, running trademarks. All staff contracted will be self-employed, set up with private healthcare, dental, prescriptions, options, pensions, savings, holidays, incentives, weekends, trips, etc. Family environment, catering for single events and social, and of course coaching and training and mentoring. Every person will have support from a family's worker. These projects will be delivered via a BBC programme. This then put me into the problems with Jimmy Savile, didn't it? Outed that one. A web portal, seminars, workshops, events, training, CDs, DVDs, books, magazines, leaflets, one-on-one, small, medium, large groups, webinars, telecalls, mind groups, 7 modules and social networking. 24 billion I was offered for this. Provide unlimited financial freedom, delegate once a week, business with pleasure. That's meaning, because they say, don't they, don't mix business with pleasure. So business with pleasure, family environment. Price settings, how well do you market, how would you sell the price, looking at other things, copyrights, webinars, information, advice process, contents, marketing, blah, 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 blah. And then there's a load of other writing here just to do with all the pros and cons and the setups. And I basically wrote like 10 to 12 clients at a time, 1, 2, 3 weeks, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, all this was basically a program to teach people the battlefield of the mind. So basically to cross over from negative ways of thinking and processing and moving over to how to, so neuralistic programs and things like that. Now, little fuckwit Kelly here then wrote a statement herself. And I think I must have asked myself the question on, if I didn't do this, what would happen? What would be the worst case scenario? So I wrote, what do I need? This is in 2010. Aaron and Faith were taken in 2012. This was a 5-year plan. So I put health, MOT services, diet plan, supplement, core. But then I wrote, I've got to make sure I never in my life ever get cuffed by the police or mental health services as a parent, that my children never go into care, that Liam is not a teenage father, that Daniel finishes high school, and that all my children's emotional, physical, and educational needs are met. I need to meet my own educational, physical, and financial needs. I aim to be financially independent and meet my own care needs. I need to pay and have full control of the needs for my children and myself, and I need to be able to tightrope and walk a very fine line, and I need to move the red tape, expand the boxes, and bridge the gap for change. I need to build a bridge across the river and sail away with my children and my husband to my future. Because don't forget, it was the 5 areas that I was looking at. So health, wealth, or three, health, wealth, and relationships, basically. And it was all based on the wheel of balance. So take away, a lot of people don't like coaches because coaches build people up in themselves. I decided, well, I didn't, the boss upstairs decided that Britain needed to get its shit together, and One of the questions that was put on me was, where did the community spirit go and what is the core of the problem? How to eliminate core problems in 5 stages, and what the strategy and tactics need to be in place to completely flip over the dog-eat-dog, devil-ridden Great Britain that we are to actually being Great Britain. So obviously in 2012 I was involved with the Olympics and I got scared and I put the brake on. So this was July 2012 and I fucking smashed it through 2010. I mean, I was worldwide media all the way through 2010 and then local media communities, blah, 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 doing the Olympics. And then all of a sudden I shit myself, and I shit myself because I watched the rehearsal for the opening thing for it. And all of a sudden I thought, Kelly, something bad is going to happen in London. You cannot take the kids. And I decided not to go to London for the Olympics. And from that point, I lost my contract and my job and my mentorship with James Greenwell. Because when you do the sort of work that I do, you wear ball gowns, you wear nice clothes, you go and sit in the right things, you say the right things, you do the right things. You sit in the right places, you network with the right people, and you have the right conversations, and you do your P's and Q's, and you don't bite your nails. If you bite your nails, no one will work with you. Do you know what I mean? So I bite my nails constantly because I choose who I work with right now. So I just wanted to share that's a prime example that with the MPs, like just where's her thing from? She wants to recruit 20,000 more teachers and invest an extra 10 billion a year into schools. Okay. To do what? To do what with that money? And where's that 10 billion coming from? So basically, they've got to grind your asses and make you work harder to pay more tax to them, up your fucking taxes, to put the money into their pot of honey for the queen bee, you know, sending the bees out to collect the honey and the money, yeah, to put into that pot, to put out. But I sat in the A&E today with a figure of 174 people going to St Mary's A&E a day. That is just one small population, because we have a massive hospital, and I dread to think how many people they have there a day. I saw people limping who, when they lose their mobile phone and leave it, can move quite quickly. You know, quick, oh, fuck, I've left my mobile phone. Yeah, they move back quickly, quite fast then. You know, people abuse the system. They do. It's fact. People abuse the benefit system, they abuse the NHS, and they abuse themselves. As I said last night, and as I've said for a long, long, long time, I'm not here to change the world. I can't even change my own fucking socks right now, let alone the whole fucking world. I don't have a problem with the world. It's the world that keeps me sane right now. It is the beauty in the world that keeps me going. I live in an absolute fucking hellhole right now, but it is a tree sitting outside my window that changes colour, that shows me that, you know, the seasons really do exist. But it's 1 o'clock now and the birds will start chirping soon. The birds don't chirp at the right time anymore. Have you noticed? Has anybody actually noticed the frequency of the birds currently? That you're not waking up to sunrise and the birds chirping. They're chirping all the way through hours of the night. Yeah? So we are out of Mother Earth synchronicity. That's fact. Yes? Fracking stopped, right? So now Mother Earth doesn't need to get so pissed off with everybody. And absolute hats off. And I do know a number of the frackers, but I have never been able to go and stay on the sites because the police were moving them, arresting them. They've had their children taken. They've been holding grounds. They've had all this shit going on much longer than anybody could have ever known, because people don't know about the fracking sites. People don't see this stuff. It's not all over the papers. It's not in, you know, talked about on the BBC. These are people that have been deemed as tree huggers, that are there holding trees. No, they're not. They have been protecting this whole fucking planet from perpetual damage because it's an unnatural force. And if you understand whales, okay, go and drill on top of a whale to try to get that oil out. Don't squeeze an eel, sorry, with the oil. Yeah, you know, it's crazy. And at the end of the day, all this oil that they are trying, gases that they're trying to take from our planet, this natural stuff that exists. You were talking about if they had continued to go through the platelets of this planet, Mother Earth would have sent a fucking signal to you. It would be like trying to give you acupuncture and twisting a fucking needle right into you. What are you going to do to the person twisting the needle in you? Seriously, honestly, you're going to headbutt it. Well, Mother Earth was about to do that. And I hope to God, now all of these have been pulled out, we have a chance of saving, in brackets, the planet. Mother Earth would have done it herself. And if we hadn't have listened to her with her storms and all of that, then Dada's going to kick in. And when Dada comes, he wipes the fucking planet, as with all of the stories that we've ever written in the Bible, where they have gone, I'm sorry, but your debauchery, your taxation, your fucking stiff has had enough. And they go, whoosh. But unfortunately, since Noah and since all of that stuff, we've been under the Roman Empire. Jesus come to try to turn over the table temples and say, look, we don't have all this stuff going on. He was hung on a fucking cross and whatever the stories and blah, blah, blah. But we've still been under the same structures, same governance, same authorities. Yes, there's been different kings and queens and stuff coming in along the times of history. And then Henry VIII decided that he wanted to actually no longer be married to his wife legally. He wanted to actually go into a church and decree an absolute his divorce, because he couldn't keep cutting the heads off of these women. So therefore, we, the British people, live under the Church of England. Well, I'm sorry, but the Church of England is not in line with the actual true one Bible, because the Bible said that we should leave our fathers and be with our husbands. And there was a line of authority for women. Yeah. I've always said women went too far when they burnt the bras, way too far. Look, hats off. You want to vote? You want to have a bit of a voice? You want to do this stuff? There are two structures to men and women. Yes, we have our own purpose. It is to protect our kids. I'm here to protect my children. This is why I do what I do. That's all of my children, all 7 of my children, plus my stepchildren. So Henry, we've got a visitor. Hello. Oh no, he's reading comments. There's nothing up there. It's only got the doodah thing. So I can't think where I was going. I will probably get told off. I was actually flag up. I have to, oh God, I've got to start pulling up who's who now, have I? You have to scroll down to read comments. So anyway, we the people now have 12 days to call and go and see the people who want to be champions. And we have to see this a different way now. MPs work for us. They're here to serve their constitution, their constituency, their people. So we have to get to them and say, this is what is going on where we live. This is what we need. This is what we don't want. This is what we want to be part of. This is what we don't want our children doing this, or this, we need help with this, or we don't actually even want to live where we live. And the reason that I did Step Up Britain was just to give people an opportunity to just go, am I happy with where I am right now? Is this where I want to be? And actually just to realize that you do actually have a choice. And you can actually go, well, I really like to be in the country, or I like cold weather, or I want to be in the sun, or I want to live within all of the seasons. I love the seasons, mate. I need the seasons. My body doesn't function if it doesn't live natural within the seasons. My body is a mess because my country doesn't live seasonal with fruit and food, and I'm not eating in line with my body. And I know this. My budget doesn't enable me to do this, and my environment doesn't enable me to do this. So therefore, I will get sicker and sicker until I can change that. And only I have control of that. And that's the decision I have to make. So, but the mistake that I made back in 2010 was that Bob Proctor and that said to me, the reason that we put people on the stage like National Achievers Congress is because they've already been through all of the adversaries. They've already seen all of the pitfalls and stuff, and they've already got to where they wanted to get to. And he said, the problem with putting it out there is people come to sabotage. If you put your seeds out there, so if I throw my seeds out my window, crows will come to chomp my seeds. And that's what he was basically saying. Now, me, being me, when they're saying, look, you've got to drop the anchor. So if you're coming out the benefit system, you can't associate with single moms, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going, but this is not good. This is not really nice. A boat needs, and and I argued with the psychology when I was in the degree as well. And I was right. So why would the coaching system be right when they go on a weekend course and call themselves coaches? So I challenged this theory. So I wrote Step Up Britain, and I said that we couldn't discriminate. Because if I discriminated, then I would be alienating, and then I would be doing exactly what all of these different positions, Liberal Democrats, left, right, Conservative, was doing. And I wanted to push what one of the agreements, if it with government, was that they had to amalgamate all parties. So in 2012, they agreed to an amalgamation of 2 parties. I said that to amalgamate all parties. So then obviously from then I've disappeared and I've had my kids taken and blah, blah, blah. And I've been just challenging from the outside. So I've come on with something completely different, and I've been completely thrown. And then the other thing is just to go was this. I was asking, so basically all of this highlights that disabled people all sit in wheelchairs. And what annoys me, because don't forget, I didn't want to be involved in any of this. I just want to get on with my life normally and not have to deal with constantly justifying my physical condition, explaining, dealing with people going, if I rest, I'm lazy. If I'm playing with the kids, there's nothing wrong with me. If I'm walking around, I just had enough of the constant discrimination that comes with a condition like mine, and being told things like it's in my head, or it's the easiest condition to claim to have, or is mental health, and all of these things. When I wake up in the pain that I do and just pray that somebody just comes and just dangles me upside down and clicks all my joints so I can get up out of bed and not feel the way that I do. And I pray for this every day. And if it's going to cost me a physio to just literally just come in the morning and go, don't work with me for 25 minutes, 45 minutes. And, they're fantastic. I want to be able to dedicate my health, because my health is my most important thing. We get one body. It's like, how many cars do we have? How many homes do we have? If your body's broken, you can't just go, oh, okay, actually you could if we have humanoids now, but you can replace your body. Unfortunately, that's a bit of a false statement to make right now. Not available to everybody. But yes, if you would like to replace a limb, you actually can. If you want a nose job, boob job, eyebrows lift, yes, you can. But the fact is, if it gets diseased, you can't replace it. And it's the same with your heart. Somebody can receive your heart, but if it's a diseased heart, it's going to kill them too. So we need to get the heart back in Britain and the mind working together, and we need to get the right people doing the right things in the right places. And the only way that is going to happen is for we the people to start championing people and riling people up who can work in these positions. Because I don't want to get up tomorrow and go and pick up all the fag butts off of the floors, so the kids getting up in the morning aren't picking them up, or go and picking up all the litter so we don't have to see all the litter. I don't want to go and clean my streets after all the pubs and the clubs have been out there. The council does this. The council pay for this. We the people pay the council to work for us, to keep our water clean, which is not. And we the people need to say, we need clean, free water here in the UK. We have all of these solar power systems. We have all of these free energy systems, and we can be utilizing them, and we don't have to be paying these big CEO companies who are torturing and raping our fucking children, like the BBC. And so what's her face from the BBC, what's her name, is what's the woman who, I can't remember her name now, but you know, we shouldn't be threatened with prison for not paying for the BBC to not have adverts on, and if you don't pay, you go to prison. If you're 9 miles over a speeding thing, yes, there are consequences, but 3 months in prison, £2,000, £2,500 fines, parking, all of these things. Well, I am 9 minutes usually to go, so I'm going to flick the coffee on for Dean. I'll do an hour. I ramble for an hour. Sometimes it has points, sometimes it doesn't. But I get nice messages to say it does, and if it helps one person, cool. If it doesn't, I'm just a rambling idiot.
Just mind the dogs on there, yeah?
Dogs.
Yeah, the dogs. You know what men are like, some dogs. Yeah.
That's Dave Simpson.
Yeah.
Say hello.
I don't want to say hello to anybody. Just tell it how it is. I'll tell you how it is. Yeah.
Who let the dogs out?
Dogs, stay away from my missus, all right?
Can I tell you my man?
Oh, fuck.
Am I your missus?
I'm not interested.
Am I your missus? Say that again. Am I your missus?
If you've got an alternative motive,
am I your missus?
If you've got an alternative motive, I suggest you fuck off.
Am I your missus?
I suggest you fuck off.
Am I your missus?
I suggest, listen to me once, I'm not a mug, right? I'm not a mug. I don't give a fuck who's on it. I don't give a fuck who he is. Do you understand me? He'll get fucking told. Got ulterior motive, mate. Fuck off.
So much easier with a man around, it really is. So anyway, we will put on the Arc 2x2. I just got called my missus. Actually, he's made quite a few powerful statements today.
Don't patronise me, I really am not.
I'm getting a bit of finger.
I'm really interested in people.
Did you call me your missus?
All I'm telling you is...
Can we clarify
Listen,
this?
I'm not interested. You're not listening, are you? That's the trouble you people, you don't listen, do you? All I'm saying to you is if there's a clowns on there with ulterior motives... And women. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, you got an interior motive, mate.
Men
I suggest
and women.
You fuck off somewhere else.
Anybody.
I suggest you fuck
Anybody. Off. And you do. You have to safeguard yourself. So this was about safeguarding as well, because the Queen does need to protect her country if that's how she sees the people as her people. She does need to. So there is policing. But when people are being injured and stuff's going on and police are corrupt and the NHS can't fulfill because they're too focused on paperwork and enforcements and statements and paperwork and notice of enforcement, and you're getting, you know, your benefits cut left, right and centre, or jobs being sacked, and you're trying to keep roofs over your children's heads, foods in things, when the Lord said he would provide these things. Tithing. I said tithing over tax. The Lord told us how to live. He warned us.
I'm sorry to bother you. Is there any sugar anywhere?
No, there's no sugar. We need honey. So we've got sugar, there's no sugar.
But you've got honey?
No, we haven't.
Oh,
we need honey.
Oh.
We need honey.
All right. It's okay.
And it's exactly the same as well in the film The Bees, talking about honey, and the film Ants. It wasn't that they didn't need this colonisation, because when the bees said, look, you're not having all our honey and you're not making money out of it, well, then there was no repollination. And actually, it's the humans that die. So the circle of life has to exist. We need, but the balance of this country really, really needs to be restored. And we, the people, have an opportunity and a chance to do that ourselves, starting with our own communities, starting with showing what we will tolerate and what we won't, because the devil's greatest deception was to get you to tolerate what was going on, so you can walk down the streets and see the homeless brothers sitting on the streets and ignore them, so you can hear the screams and the cries of stuff going on and you know, ignore that. So, you know, so abuse to children is going on right in front of your fucking noses, and you do nothing about it because you tolerate it, because it's become normalized. Well, it's not normal, it's not right. And we're going into a winter season. Churches should be open because that's what they are meant to be doing. They should be bringing in the people that need help and being there, and we shouldn't be judging, and we shouldn't be looking down on people that are lower or upper, because this upper middle and lower class here in Great Britain shouldn't exist. There's no reason for it. We're all capable of handling money, keeping a home over our heads, choosing where we want to live. It's just the fact that we, the little sub people, were taught tens, thousands and units, and we were told that we can't achieve and we can't be this and we can't do that because we have to be this, this and this. We have to fit the boxes because we're the subservient people who have to go to work to make sure that we can continue this abusive cycle of raping money from people, that if you don't pay, just because they can't come gallantly on their horses and take your land the way that they used to, we have been coerced, but we've committed to do this and we've agreed to do this voluntary. They're not holding guns to our heads. Yes, they're sending letters that if you don't do this, this will happen, but they're not at our door holding. They can take our staff, they can evict us from properties, but it's up to us then to make more money. But they don't teach you to do that. They teach you to then go into debt management. And when you focus on debt, you get more debt. So therefore, my job right now is to not focus on the debt, is to now focus on how much money I need, what it is that I need, where we want to be. And if he's just said Mrs., I need to follow up this conversation, because there's a few conversations going on. So maybe there could be a wedding on next year. Who knows? I did say that last night. Who knows? So a couple of minutes left to go. So I just want to say to everybody before you go, just over the weekend, and we're going into a whole new month, and we're going into what's considered Christmas, winter, but it is a time where we do think about New Year's resolutions, getting rid of the old, coming into the new, starting again. But don't wait until January to do it. Start thinking about it now. Start thinking about when everybody's sitting down having Christmas dinner. If you had that 24 hours, not the debauchery Christmas that they want. It's not about the drinking of the alcohol and getting completely stuffed and spending shitloads of money and getting yourself into debt. It's about the relationships and the people that you're with, and about remembering of everybody else. Actually, it's just so slaves can actually have a day off and go and get drunk. But just leading into these 12 days, as we're heading into bringing in people who are going to decide the future for us, how our children's education is going to work, because you're the ones that agree to drop your kids off in school every day. But do you ever actually think about the education and brainwashing that they're getting? So it's up to us to say, when we're not with our children, what's going on? It's up to us to turn up to the schools and go, right, come on, you're talking about sexual education right now. I want to know, I want to see these videos. You know, what are you teaching my children about history? Is it actually even true? You know, are my kids being bullied at school? They keep telling me they are, and nobody's doing anything about it. It's up to us to take control of our own lives and get our own homes in order, And if we all collectively work out what debt we've got, how much money we think we need, and what we're going to do as our service to this country. And if you don't want to be here, fuck off. Like Dean says, get on a plane and get out of this country and fuck off where you want to be. So the people who want to be here on Great Britain, on this very small island in the whole big picture of the world, it's a tiny island, you know, it can't take this mass big population, hey, come to Great Britain. We're not like America. We're not like Australia. We are a tiny, tiny, tiny little island with little islands around it. And we have to say where we want to be. Do you want to be near the coastline? Do you want to be in a city? Do you want to be in a village? Do we even need cities and villages? Do we take the big tall tower buildings down? Do we move everybody out? Do we have nice little country homes? Do we have a precedence that we want to see here in the UK? You know, do we want our children in big high-rise fucking gated school things? Do we want to go to the doctors and have to talk to a computer and email our doctors? Do we want personal communication? It's up to us to make that decision. And the only way you can do that is decide how you want your life to be. I know full well that when my child bangs his head and I need to do, I want to pick up the phone of my local actual GP and he can come running around to my child and come and deal with him. And if we do need to get him off to specialist stuff, then, you know, we will do that with my general practitioner, mine, not theirs, mine. Yeah, you know, so I have a right to have a personal trainer. I have a right to have correct physio. I'm grateful to the NHS today. I am, because I couldn't have made that decision whether or not my son needed to have his head treated. Do you know what I mean? We need these facilities. We need these services, but it's up to us to do that. So for the countdown of 12 days, and Amber, if you can please change my title, that would be great. And the other thing is, you know, I started this as a single mother in 2010 with a 5-year plan of shutting it all down after 5 years, because I would have found my husband, you know, we would have had our nice home and the kids would just be playing and we'd have a private life. And I had no intentions of doing this. I wouldn't have to worry because I don't have to explain my condition to everybody. Do you know what I mean? Because I have the people around me that get it. And I have that support network around me, and it's about our support network, but it's about communities. So if you don't like and don't want to be around the people that you're around, then leave. So we will be leaving here because we don't want to be here. Sweet and gracious as people are, this is not our environment. So yeah, it's time for us all to uproot and leave, so they say. And you know, don't let just to leave you on this note, don't let them fear you into what a shit winter this is going to be and how crap it's going to be, and it's going to be cold and snowy and wet and horrible, so we've all got to be in our homes and not go out, and it's too dangerous to be out in our cars and all of that. Fuck your cars, let the snow go all over it. Maybe pack it with a load of stuff so people can use them to go over on the ramps and stuff. Go and get your nose and padding, get down, go and free cycle, whatever. Get all your really, really, really warm stuff. Make sure everybody is really, really warm. Make sure everybody's got all their stuff, and get outside and just enjoy it. You know, if it is going to be a white Christmas this Christmas, or winter or whatever you want to call it, I'm not pagan, I'm not Christian either, you know, so I'm none of these labels you want to put on me. I'll do my best. I wake up and I do my best. You know, I ask the Lord what he wants me to do and I do my best. And sometimes I fail him and sometimes I don't. You know, so I only fail myself. But I got to get my shit together, because if not, I'm then going to be upside my head and out in freaking evictions, traveling around in a car that's been taken off of me with a driving license that I don't have, and then having to kill people because they're threatening to take my kids. So that's not a great place for me. I know where I want to be, but this time I'm not going to write what I don't want in my life. I'm going to write what I do. And that's what I want you to do, is don't focus on what you don't want in your life. Focus on what you do, and then understand the balance field that goes on that tells you can't have that, because you can. Because if it's what your heart wants and it's your true intentions and it's rightfully yours, then no one can take that from you. So on that note, I'm out of here, and I'm going to go and find out whether I'm his missus. Because if I am, then I don't have to worry about anything really, can I? Because he's certainly not going to allow for the dogs, as you call it, around me. Because they waste my time. Trolls, the lot of them. Even people who want to message you and go, like, hello, I want to be your friend. It's like, well, I'm here to do a job. So, my missus. And I have proof that he did say that if he says he didn't say that, by the way. Recorded on here. See you later.